We have on-device key generation, and essentially what that means is creating a private key within the device. And private key is an essential component of asymmetric encryption, right? So you've got the private key and then the public key, which is generated from that and is mathematically related. And that public key can be openly distributed and given to other parties that want to be in communication with the initial client device. Now, the private key is the one that needs to be protected and never leave that device. And that's why it's so important that you store that securely, okay? And even if the device can be accessed, you can't really get into that private key and utilize it. So some ways that we talk about storing private keys is in trusted platform modules and secure elements. However you kind of maintain it, just think about how you're kind of protecting that key to your kingdom. Another use case that we talk about a lot is, and I kind of touched on it already, but offline devices. So many deployments include things they don't have a continuous, reliable connection to the internet. That could be by design, right? Or it's unintended if there's intermittent connectivity issues. So in either way, we recommend that a device manufacturer binds authentication and authorization to the hardware root of trust. So then at that point, any devices with that same trust chain can authenticate to each other even without an internet connection. And that's how we talk about doing commissioning in an offline situation, as long as the device or the user that is connected to that root of trust and then collects any sort of information or updates that the end device needs to do, then that can be exchanged through a secure tunnel between the two devices, even when they're not connected to the internet. Last thing I just wanted to touch on this slide is really just thinking about how to set up your IoT PKI. And really you want to figure out where you want to host that root of trust, because I've mentioned that that's very important. So there's a bunch of different options, and we can kind of talk to you about what that means for you depending on your infrastructure, your IT organization, your operations and manufacturing, and how you want that to work. But there's a bunch of different options. Secondly, on the key, which we touched on, figure out where you're going to put that key within the device. Also figure out your provisioning, commissioning process, where you're signing those certs. Are you using a partner out in the field or someone to do the commissioning, or are you using your own technicians and so on? How do you want to do that? And then also the last thing is, I think more and more industries are taking a proactive approach to give some guidelines around how to use cryptography and security on endpoints. And so there's likely more guidance around validity of certificates, whether it's 1 or 2 years, key size, minimum key size recommended, or algorithm that you should be using, and things like that. So just kind of take into consideration all 4 of these points when you're kind of designing your PKI.